So that now it was here, this great golden dawn comes because of that. That issue is going to be now sorted from here onward, golden dawn. So in the occult sense, actually the link is only between these three. Canto 1, the simul dawn; Canto 2, the issue; Canto 3, the death. And the encounter with death, fighting with death, conquering death, and bringing down the divine upon the earth. That is the main theme, main story of Savitri. In fact, if you want to really create a ballet for Savitri, I will do this. Start with simul dawn, focus the issue, come straight to death. Conquest of death and the golden dawn. I wish it happens. If somebody can help us or can do something as a ballet, we can prepare something, you see, like a script, and do something on that, you see. See, here, we'll read it in more detail later on, next time. But here, we have the necessary background about Satyavan's death as is present in the Mahabharata story of Savitri. Vyasa Savitri. I will read just one passage. You will see that in more detail. Rishi Markandeya, who is narrating the story of Savitri to Yudhishthira, he is telling something about this one. O Yudhishthira, with the rolling of several lunar days, as the time was passing, the fated hour when Satyavan must die was also approaching soon. That is the day. Now, here was the day, you know, that's what we see. ततः काले बहुतिथे व्यतिक्रांते कदाचन प्राप्त स कालो मर्तव्यम यत्र सत्यवता नृप. That is the story of this one. O Yudhishthira, with the rolling of several lunar days, that is the way in which the days are counted in the Indian calendar. As the time was passing, the fated hour when Satyavan must to die was also approaching soon. Savitri was counting down the day with each lost day what Narad had foretold about the impending doom. Those words were ever fixed in her heart. The virtuous and noble lady, now much worried when she saw that only 4 days are left. Yes, after 4 days, Satyavan is going to die. Left only 4 days. Undertook a 3-night vow of standing night and day at one single place. She has determined now to stand what is called the Tri-Ratra Vrata, 3-night vow, standing at a given spot continuously for 3 days, nights and days, 24 hours each, 72 hours constantly. The king, when he heard of this difficult vow, was very much distressed. He got up and spoke kind and conciliative words to Savitri, king, that is Satyavan's father, Dyumatsena. See, Savitri is counting the days, only 4 days are remaining for Satyavan's life to be. He is going to die after 4 days. And therefore she makes a resolve to do this vow, to carry out this vow. It is a very, very difficult vow, extremely difficult vow. But she would not do it of her own. She is seeking permission from the head of the family, the elderly person, Dyumatsena, Satyavan's father. And when he heard of this difficult vow, was very much distressed. Obviously, he got up and spoke kind and conciliative words to Savitri. Dyumatsena said, O princess, what you had taken upon yourself is very hard and severe. To remain standing throughout like this is extremely difficult to accomplish, to carry out this vow. Savitri said, be not disturbed about it. She assures him, don't be disturbed about it, please. I shall be able to carry the vow without blame, without any fault, without any imperfection. I shall be able to fulfill the vow. Only a firm resolve makes it go through successfully, and I have initiated it with that firm resolve. She assures him. Then Dhimarasana said, how can it be proper for me to tell you at all to break the vow? You are doing something meritorious, something great, something righteous, something noble. He has no idea that she is doing for a purpose. Dhimarasana has no idea. But the fact that she is engaged in a vow, a holy vow, nobody will obstruct, nobody will come in the way of doing that thing. At the most, he will advise that looks a difficult vow, it's not a very easy thing to carry on. But ultimately, nobody will stop at all. How can it be proper for me to tell you at all to break the vow? Pratham vindanti vaktum tvam nasmi shakta kathanchana. How can I? The best a person in my position can wish for you is that you be able to take it to the full end. These are my blessings. And carry on, you see. And goes on like that, you see. And then Markandeya said, saying so, the great minded Dhimarasana retired, and Savitri, standing erect on a fixed spot, appeared to be as though she was a straight wooden post, standing there. Oh Yudhishthira, tomorrow the husband is to die. It was with this thought and filled with an intense grief, Savitri remained standing even in the last night the vow was about to be over. The last night. "60 hours she is standing, now only 12 hours are remaining. Next day, knowing that it had arrived well with the sunrise, she completed the morning rituals and lit a bright fire and made to a sacrificial offering. She is doing yajna in the morning at the end of the vow. You see. Then she gave her respects and obeisance to all the elders and to the sages in the entire forest. All the ashramas which are there, she goes and offers her respects to the rishis, the sages, to the sages and to the in-laws. Folding her hands reverentially, she stood in front of them. All those dwellers in the sacred forest, grown in austerity, blessed Savitri. The sages wished for her good auspicious things and a life without widowhood. She is a young bride, and you say, Saubhagyavati Bhavo. Let you remain always with Saubhagya, without widowhood, Saubhagyavati. Entering into the yoga of meditation and saying to herself, be it just so. They said, let your life be without any calamity, widowhood, without. And she is catching those words of those rishis, Saubhagyavati, and meditating on those words in her heart. Savitri, those in the sacred forest grown in austerity. Blessed Savitri, the sages wish for her good auspicious things and a life without widowhood. Entering into the yoga of meditation. Yoga of meditation. Savitri is an accomplished tapaswini who has done tapasya. She is well versed in the yoga of meditation. He says here, Savitri is Dhyana Yoga Parayana. She is an expert in the yoga of meditation. Savitri is an expert in the yoga of meditation. So she enters into the yoga of meditation and holds the words of the rishis in her soul and brings to them. Let that be so, what they are talking about. You see. Now, this is important also in the Mahabharata Savitri. There is no book of yoga. But when he speaks that she is an expert in the yoga of meditation, it means that she has already done the yoga. It is a way of saying that she has done the yoga. In Shrebandu Savitri, the book of yoga did not exist till 1946. It came much later. It did not exist at all, you see. You had Book of Fate, and immediately after that, Book of Death, you see. Book of Yoga. It did not exist at all now. Now Shrebandu has, of course, elaborated that thing here. But the hint of Savitri being an accomplished yogini is present in the Mahabharata story itself. Knowing that particular time and that moment, as foretold by Narad be arriving, the princess was filled with great grief in the thought. Now she is human Savitri. Yes, within a few hours now my husband is going to die. This was early morning. She is going to the hermitages, meeting the rishis and all that, maybe around 8 o'clock. She is receiving their blessings. And she is now again back human. Next, within few hours, he is to die at noon. In 4 hours, Satyavan will be no more there. The princess was filled with great grief and the thought, "Oh Yudhishthira, finding thus the princess seated lonely and quiet, the father-in-law and the mother-in-law spoke with loving tenderness to her." Well, that is the Savitri story. Huh? They don't know at all, no.
She is the only one who knows.
She is the only one. Nobody else, not even the rishis know.
They didn't ask her what's the matter.
No, well, it is taken as a part of your tapasya, your sadhana. You don't ask personal questions.